It is 2024 and you want to be fluent in English. These next 8 tips will help you become more fluent by the end of the year. The first thing you can do in order to become fluent in English is you should start using language apps. In an earlier video, I mentioned you can use apps such as Duolingo. Duolingo and HelloTalk, you need to sponsor me. Thank you. But there are actually a lot more apps than Duolingo that you can use. One app that I used before, and I've done some work with them, is Cake English. They are not sponsoring this video at all.
But they should.
But I think their platform is really good. Cake English uses a lot of exercises as well as videos from movies and TV shows to help you develop that natural English.
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Of course, there's apps and websites like FLUENT that you can use, but really it just depends on which app or website you're more comfortable with and that you really like the way that they help you learn. Downloading a language app is a very useful tip for you to use in order to become better at English. The second tip is you should find a language exchange meetup. Okay, I know what you're saying. There are no English speakers where I live. There are different websites, such as Meetup, that you can find different groups that are getting together where there might be English speakers. But what if you can't find any? Maybe there are no meetups for English speakers. Well, if that is the case, then you should try going to a place where English speakers might be. For example, when I was learning Korean, I used to go to a Korean restaurant, and I would go very, very frequently. Eventually, the people who worked at the restaurant connected me to a much larger Korean American community. Once they did that, I started hanging around more with Korean Americans, and then my Korean slowly started to improve. Is there a restaurant or a store that you can go to that may have English speakers there? If so, go there, start a conversation, and see if there is a community you can be a part of. If not, you can always use websites such as WhatsApp to find English groups. Of course, WhatsApp though has some really sketchy people on it, so just be careful. The next tip is you should try using grammar resources and textbooks. I think most people know what Grammarly is.
What are you talking about?
In case you don't know, Grammarly is a website or a platform that you can use that will help correct your English grammar. Also, if you're not too sure about a grammar rule, then you can go to Grammarly and they will explain it for you. I am the type of person who can buy a textbook, and on my own, I can go from the beginning of the textbook to the end. Even my Korean textbook, it takes a lot of discipline to be able to do this, but if you can actually complete a whole textbook and practice it and write down your vocabulary words, you will see an improvement in your English. But make sure you find an English grammar textbook that you like and that is easy for you to understand. If the textbook is too hard, don't do it. You will not understand most of the work you are doing. Find a book that is just right for you. And then, once you fully understand that book, then go a step higher, then a step higher, step by step.
Step by step.
Tip number 4, that's 8. 4 is to enroll in online English classes. Did you know that there are free English classes online?
What?
I actually researched this for you. One website you can go to is called Coursera, and it actually has free English courses you can take. It's crazy, right?
Yes.
But let's say you don't want to take English courses, but you want to go to a website that will still be pretty useful for you to learn English. One website I used as a teacher is Khan Academy, and Khan Academy is free. I think the only thing you need is a Google email. I'll check for you, 1 second. Yeah, just a Google email. You can do different grammar exercises, work on your vocabulary. It's pretty useful, and it's free. Free. The next tip on our list is podcasts and audiobooks. In a previous video, I also mentioned podcast and how podcast is a very useful way for you to improve your listening as well as to learn some new vocabulary. The best podcasts are the ones that are related to your interest. For this video, I don't want to talk about podcasts as much, but I do want to talk about audiobooks. Audiobooks, to me, is one of the best ways of improving your reading and your English listening at the same time. Listen to the book read, then stop it, go back, and listen to it again. Then as you're listening to it, try to speak like the book. Shadow the person reading. And as you are shadowing them, you are practicing being able to say these words, these phrases, and using this grammar. This is an active way of learning English with audiobooks. Please don't just listen to the audiobook. You also have to practice with that audiobook. News is the next one on the list. News is more of an advanced way of improving your English because the news topics, the vocabulary, and the way the anchors speak can be really challenging to understand in English. You can always read newspapers in English, but no one really reads newspapers as much. But you can always go to the websites of these news channels and read articles. I will put some websites in the description for you to practice. These websites are mostly for children, but I think they will still be extremely helpful for you to learn English. Tip number 7 into becoming more fluent in English is to use websites or apps that help you with vocabulary. So in my notebook, I have written tons of vocabulary words, not in English, but in Korean. This helped me be able to remember all the words that I've studied in class. But what do you do with these words after you write them in your notebook? Well, there is an app that I've used a lot called Quizlet. And with Quizlet, you can put your words in the app and then you can constantly review them. The app will quiz you as well as use flashcards to help you memorize your words. It is extremely useful. When I had exams, I would use Quizlet because it helped me remember. When I had students, I would tell them to use Quizlet because it would help them remember their words in English. There are other websites and apps you can use for flashcards, but for me, Quizlet was the best and it always gave me good results. So give it a shot. The last tip that I recommend you to do, and it is a very hard tip, you should start scheduling when you're going to practice your English. So here is my handy dandy schedule. The stickers were provided by B-Side Label in Japan. So B-Side Label, thank you. You guys are awesome. This video is not sponsored by B-Side Label, but I just really love their stickers. It takes a lot of discipline in order to use a calendar. It's hard. It's really easy to forget to use your calendar. If you can get into the habit of following a schedule and studying consistently, then all the tips that I've told you in this video will be extremely helpful and you will become more fluent before the end of 2024. But if you want more help to reach your goals before 2025, then you need to check out this video right here. And I'll see you in the next video.